Wherever you are and however you are listening, thanks for being back on another episode of the Virtual GM podcast. Today, we have an in-studio guest, Will Rogers, and he's going to talk about some housekeeping services that they can help support your property and an awesome app that they've created called Dormy that's really going to streamline your time tracking and your hospitality services. You're going to love it. Be sure to like and subscribe, and most importantly, enjoy the episode. Oh, thank you so much for being back with us on another episode of the Virtual GM podcast. Today is exciting because we have a guest in studio. So I've swapped out Megan and I've brought in Will. So I'm excited to have a guest in studio because usually for Virtual GM, it is a virtual guest that joins us, which makes sense for Virtual GM. Today, my guest is Will Rogers. He's one of the owners of MTP Cleaning and also has an app called Dormy. Will, thanks for being here.
Thanks. Appreciate it, Cody.
So I'm super excited to have Will here today. Actually, Blake and Mallory from Blueform introduced us together, which is super cool. Small world. And we got chatting and it was like, wait a minute, what is it exactly that you do? Turns out we're in a pretty similar space, and I think it can provide a lot of value to our listeners today. But in typical Virtual GM fashion, we'll start with a segue. So for those of you that are new to the episode, we at Vibrant run on EOS, which is the entrepreneurial operating system. And part of that is for all of your meetings, you kick off a segue, which is one business best and one personal best. And I really love doing this because it lets us stay connected with our team. And then with guests like Will, it lets me get a little bit of insight into what he's been up to. So I'll get us started. We got all of our properties end-of-month finances done. That's something that I take very personal, and it's very important to me that we deliver that for our clients. I think your finances are so important to be in there diligently every single day. Anything that you grow and monitor will increase. And I think you got to be in your finances daily. And I feel so good to be able to deliver our clients their reconciled budget sheets, their P&L for last month, year to date, and then of course their balance sheet. So it felt super good to get that done. And then obviously we had an awesome Halloween with the kiddos. It was super fun. And I'm just excited to be into the holiday season. So Will, what about you? What's your segue? What you been up to?
Yeah, we've been up to quite a bit. We've got a lot of things going on. A good win for us. We just shipped a new feature on our software program. It's just a time tracking app with a live ticker. It's got a lot more simplicity, a lot easier ways to
time tracking for like staff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Exactly. Just streamlines payroll a lot better. Just to be able to see exactly what they've done over a certain period of time. You can edit kind of what they see, all the properties they've done. You can edit just the dates that they've worked for your payroll and get it all in there. And it's good. Yeah, we've got over the last couple of months, we hired a new developer, and he's full time and he's awesome and he's great.
And what's so cool about your generation is like, you guys just do it. You just figure it out and you build it yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I would have just been like, let me find a time tracking software I can purchase. And you guys like, oh, we'll hire a developer and we'll build one. And I think it's so fascinating because there's so many opportunities and possibilities with technology and the things that you can do now.
Absolutely.
I mean, when I grew up, apps weren't even a thing yet, you know? So it's like, that's just not even in my mindset. And we actually had a board meeting the other day and we're talking about automation, and it's like, I love automation, but I don't know how to create automation. So I'm very manual in the way that I do things. But I know that I need to embrace it because it allows for so much more, you know? And so it's cool to see that you had this need and you just figured out a way to make it for
Absolutely.
yourself.
Yeah, the resources are unlimited out there right now. There's not a lot of excuses to not be able to build something these days. I'm not technical, but I'm building a software company. And so I
love it.
It's fun.
Very cool. And then what about personal?
Personally, I have a big one. I just found out I'm having a baby boy.
Oh, let's go, dude.
First
Congratulations.
First kid, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so
how did it feel when you found out?
It was kind of one of those things. I actually wanted a little girl, but I knew it was going to be a boy.
Really?
We both knew. And we found out and we're like, we knew it. But it's just kind of like checking off that list. Like, okay, I have at least one boy.
Yeah, there you go.
And got a little, little golfing buddy, a little hunting buddy.
Yeah, because I had my daughter first.
Yeah.
And so when my wife was pregnant the second time, going in the ultrasound to find out.
Yeah.
And wore blue socks and blue underwear and like blue jeans and a blue shirt. And it was like, God, don't make me have 3 kids, you know? Like
Absolutely.
I just want to. And I'm so glad I have one of each because it's the greatest thing in the world. When's your due date? Do you know?
March 5th.
Hey,
Yeah.
about to be a dad.
It's coming around.
Look at that. That's a great time too. Have you
Yeah.
guys thought about names or anything?
We're gonna name him Boston.
Boston.
Probably.
Love it.
Yeah, I've got some ties to the city. I actually served my mission there.
Oh, you did?
A little cliche, but I love the
I think
city. We
that's
love
cool.
the name too.
Yeah.
It just kind of stuck. And maybe if we end up changing it, it'll be funny to listen back to this podcast. And it's funny because her mom sent out baby announcements with his name on there, to celebrate for the baby shower. With his name on there, we're like, oh, well, we're not changing it now. Like, we were pretty sure.
I got a funny story like that. When my wife was pregnant, we were ordering new like stockings for Christmas, and she's a girl, and so she wanted like these cute ones that were like monogrammed with our names. Dad, Mom, Olivia, and then we didn't even know what the sex was yet. But we knew she was pregnant, and so we're like, it's going to be a boy, and we're going to name him Cash. Yeah, I love money, and and so we ordered his stocking with his name on it before we even knew if he was a boy or not. Awesome. And the universe obliged.
It worked. Yeah.
So thankful for that.
Affirmed that.
It's an amazing thing, parenthood. I actually remember when my wife told me she was pregnant with our daughter. We were trying like actively, and I knew she was like taking pregnancy tests and stuff, and so like I knew it could be coming. Yeah. And then she came out. It was on a Sunday. I was watching football. She came out, told me she's pregnant. And then she was like, oh, I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to make cupcakes. And like, well, because family was coming over that night for dinner anyway. She's like, and we'll celebrate. And I remember being like nervous as she went to the grocery store for the first time. Because it was like, oh, there's like, it's not just you now. There's another little person in you. And that's when I actually got back into entrepreneurship, because I was working for a corporation, but then I felt like, oh my gosh, this another human being is gonna like rely on us. Yeah. And I got to get back on that entrepreneurial grind because I need to do more. I need to provide this life for them. And then with our son, when she was pregnant with him, my best friend, who was my business partner in Houston, we lived next door to each other, and he had just told me the day before he was having his first kid. And like my wife and I weren't not trying either, just living life, right? And I was eating breakfast, and she came out. I didn't even know she took a pregnancy test. Yeah. She's like, I'm pregnant. And I was like, holy shit, like that's crazy. Like the day after, my best friend just told me he was having his kid. So that was a pretty cool experience. Yeah. But what a great segue. Yeah. See the thing about segues?
It goes right to it.
You never know where it's going to take it. So what's exciting for our listeners today, we'll start with the cleaning. So Will owns a cleaning company, MTP Cleaning?
Yeah. So we actually have 3 companies.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah. We've acquired 2 of them. We started one of them, acquired 2. Our overall brand is called Quality Cleanse. And Cleanse. Yeah, that's more so what we refer to for commercial stuff, which is about 50 to 60% of our business. Okay. And then we acquired a company called Made to Perfection back in 2020.
That's what MTP is.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And that really got us in full steam ahead into it, because we bought it from a lady who had a book of business kind of going already, and it was mostly residential, but her name was out there. She had a decent Google presence, and so we would get a decent amount of stream inflow from calls and whatnot, so that helped. And then we acquired another company called Zion Cleaning Co. in 2022, which did only vacation rentals. Okay. And so we had done quite a bit of vacation rentals before we acquired that company. They had slowed down because we started focusing on commercial more, and we just thought, this is a really good way to supplement our business. It's reoccurring. They're frequent cleans. If you can get a good system in place and a good team lead, it's an effective business. Vacation rental cleaning or hotel cleaning or motel cleaning. Sure. It's all pretty similar, and it's good. I would recommend getting into that space if you're looking into small business, because there's a lot.
The service industry is such a great place to build a business.
Just low barrier to entry. Yeah. And so it made sense to us, and we got a steal on that business, purchasing that, and the steal on the first business as well, which, that can happen when owners have a service business and it's run, they do all the work themselves, they burn out quickly. Yeah. And you don't
That's why people are afraid of the service business, because it's hard. But if you can figure out how to scale it and use a team of people, so you're not one individual is burning out. I mean, it's such a great space to be.
It's just about creating levers and using those to scale your business. And you hear the difference between working in and on your business. Yeah. And if you're doing all the cleans yourself, you're just working in your business.
Yeah. You're an employee, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not scalable. It's not repeatable. It's not. And so we, from the get-go, from the very moment we knew we didn't want to clean our whole lives, but we just had this opportunity and thought, okay, how do we do that? And I remember just thinking, okay, if we could make $10,000 a month with this business, like that would be awesome. And my partner and I just talked about it at the gym and just thought, man, that could be so cool. And that was just our
How many years
thought.
ago was that?
That was the very beginning of 2020.
Okay.
So we were we're about 4.5 years, almost 5 years in.
That's awesome. Well, and what's so cool, the reason that I wanted you on for our listeners is that obviously the most important piece of a hospitality business is your staff. And whether you're running virtually, as we talk about here on Virtual GM, or you have a front desk staff, usually the largest part of your staff in hospitality is your cleaning team, right?
Yes.
That's what you have to have the most of. And so that can be very challenging. And if you're trying to find someone, and if you don't have the experience or all the pieces, the levers in place, it can be very challenging to manage it. And that's one of the biggest obstacles that we find with our clients all around the United States is how good are their housekeepers? Do they have a reliable team? Who's managing them? What's the strategy? And so what's cool about Will and his team is that they can go anywhere. So if you're listening to this and you've got a property down in Texas and you need help, or if you're in the Northeast, we've got, did you ever connect with
we've been talking all week out on a beach in Delaware. That's some of our favorite parts of owning this business is traveling to new spots. You know, we've been up to Coeur d'Alene and Flagstaff and Oregon and all over the place. And it's been fun. And we've been to, New York. It's great. And it's really just implementing the system that you have, which obviously can be tricky. Yeah. But it's really about finding, it starts from the top and goes down. It's about finding a good manager or supervisor, somebody who you can pay a flat salary, which is kind of hard, or a stipend or whatever you call it. It's kind of hard sometimes because the industry that you're in with Vibrant and that I'm in with the vacation rental side of my business, it's seasonal, right? Mm-hmm. And so finding one person that's going to be there through the busy season and the slow season it's tricky. And you have to, it's kind of an investment in those slow seasons.
And that's why I think salary is the right strategy, because it's like, it just allows you to spread out that cost evenly over the year and let them know like they're being taken care of in the off season when the business isn't generating enough to warrant that salary. But you need that person there long term.
Absolutely. And then you just kind of work your way down from there. And you get you have your general manager or supervisor, whatever you call them, and then the cleaning leads, which are under that, people who are qualified to inspect, and then your cleaners. And obviously we can go so far into hiring good people and how you do that. And there's a few things that we look for. It's just one major thing that I think sometimes people overlook, but it's simple when hiring a good cleaning staff is asking for a resume and then looking at how long they've stayed at jobs. Sure. And if they're jumping from job to job every 3 to 4 months, it's just not worth it. As good as they seem. We've talked to hundreds and hundreds of people we've interviewed and hired, and people can be good at selling themselves. Yeah. But the
proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, absolutely. The resume doesn't lie. The numbers don't lie. There's certain things that you definitely look out for, and we've gotten good at that. We can kind of understand.
Well, that's the biggest part of it, really, right? Is like the hardest thing with housekeeping, especially for like people like the people listening to this podcast, small independent boutique properties that aren't very large, is a lot to manage. And if you're already trying to run the hotel and like that's what you focus on, like that is what your job is. But then running the housekeepers is another job, right? And so if you can just outsource that, so it's taken care of, they're being managed, they're being taken care of, there's policies and practices in place, it just makes it so much more efficient for you to be really good at what you're good at, and then bring in someone like yourself who's really good at, and really that's what we do, right? We take some responsibility off the owners. We do what we're really good at. So it's kind of a perfect harmonious thing where you can have the owners, you can have someone like us and someone like you. So you only have to do what you're great at. There's this thing called delegate and elevate. There's 4 boxes. It's love and great, good and like, don't like and good, and don't like and not good, right? And so you don't want to be in those bottom quadrants. Yeah. You want to spend time where you love it and you're great at it, or you like it and you're good at it.
Yeah.
You don't want to be in the not like but good. It's a bad space to be.
Exactly what cleaning is for a lot of people. It's down here.
It's
for
that
them.
bottom quadrant,
and that's why it's such a good business. And it's because it's going to be around for a long time. That's why service industries do good. Like what's it called? A lot of water that goes fast. Power washing. Oh yeah.
Power washing driveways or laundry mats. Like all these service industries that people maybe that's in that bottom quadrant, but everyone needs them. Like every hotel needs a cleaning company. You can't not have it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And there's opportunities too. We have a lot of opportunities in the commercial space, and obviously I want to get to the software program here.
Yeah.
It kind of all ties to it.
Yeah.
But there's so many opportunities if you have a good relationship with commercial managers, commercial building managers, or property managers. There's different services that you can add on. For example, we had this opportunity to bid out on a high ceiling dusting, just a dusting. And our customers came to us and said, "Hey, there's not anywhere that we can't find somebody to do this."
Yeah.
And it's a big job. It takes, about a day, and it's this food processing plant, or they process plastics for food and stuff. And so it's pretty regulated. So you need to get everything clean. Yeah. And I did research on how to bid something like that out, and I could just find these really high prices. And I was like, there's no way it could be that expensive. And so I called to present the bid to her. Yeah. I'm like, this is what we're finding. And it was about 25 cents per square foot on 100,000 square foot building.
Wow.
And she's like, "Yep, that sounds about right." For a day of work. And I'm like, there's a lot of potential out there.
Wow. It's the things you just never know, And how high is the ceiling?
Oh, that one's pretty high. I think it was 40 or 50 feet.
Damn.
They're high.
That's awesome though.
Yeah. But they have their own scissor lift. Like, you guys can use our scissor lift.
Oh shit! So that's because that'd be the biggest expense to execute that, right?
And it's just they cover all their machines with wrap, and then you blow the dust off, and then get the dust off the ground and the machine.
Honestly, it's reassuring to know that someone gives a shit about that, because you would think that most people just like.
No,
the food industry.
Big, in industries and these big industrial buildings are super regulated, but they also have a big budget.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Big companies with those.
If you're doing the math at home, that's a good job for a day.
Yeah, it is. And I have buddies in some of my networking group. We have a networking group. That's actually how we met. We came over here and did the tour of this place, and I've got a buddy who does cement, and he got a government contract for redoing concrete inside of a building, and they pay a lot of money, and it took them a few weeks.
The government loves to overpay.
Tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And those are the best for us. We have a few government contracts, and they're amazing. They're long contracts.
Always pay on time.
Yeah.
Pay a little bit over than the standard market rate.
Absolutely. It's great.
Good for you.
And as a small business, it's good to look for those kind of things.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Dormy.
Yeah.
Because that was shocking when you were telling me like, oh, we also have this software, and I was like, what?
Yeah. It's been quite a journey. I had the idea originally probably a year after we started the cleaning business, so probably for 3 years now, and for me it's been a challenge to build. I've had 3 different types of developers build something up, and then it end up not working out, or just to give me like an MVP. So, and part of that is a lot of it is on me, just because I am building the cleaning business at the same time. So it doesn't have my full 100% attention. But I first started with a partner, and he just got too busy with life. He had a kid. He started a full-time job, and he had some tragedy in his family all within the same month. So he had to step away. And then I ended up winning a pitch contest at the college with this product, the software product. And I had one of the judges come up to me and said, "Hey, my team can build this for you. I've got a dev team that builds little products, and we'll just take a chunk of equity and build it for you." So a few months into that, he comes to me and says, "Hey, our company's getting sold, and they're only going to be working on the projects that are making money right now. So we're going to have to drop your project." So I had to start over again. And then I ended up finding another he's actually a pretty good mentor of mine, Trent Staley. I don't know if you've heard of him.
The name sounds familiar.
He's got he's a ton of experience in software companies. He is building a company called School Pulse. And he had a little dev team, and he built an MVP for me that kind of took
What does MVP mean?
Minimum viable product. So just the most bare bones basic thing that you can sell.
Got it.
So something that works, not necessarily that's great, nothing too sexy, nothing too,
but serviceable.
Yeah, but it works. And that's what we just needed, something to sell. And that took us to like last year. And I was working through that, started to sell and look for customers. And that's kind of where I've been. In the last few months, I've hired a full-time developer actually out of the Philippines, which
Smart.
I worked through a company called Shepherd. They're now called somewhere.com. I think that's what it's called now. They just rebranded. Really, really good.
We've used an agency like that for a marketing company to source less expensive, really talented people in other countries.
And it's been amazing. My developer, he's on top of it. He's really good. And I'm super impressed with their work ethic. And
it's the best.
Doesn't wait to do something. He just acts. And he takes feedback well.
So what all does Dormy do?
So we got the idea based on servicing vacation rentals.
Yeah.
And we just saw the complexities of there's just so many things that happen and that need to happen in a short amount of time between a checkout and a check-in between a vacation rental. So a guest usually will check out, same with a hotel, at 11 a.m. Then it needs to be cleaned, the laundry needs to be done, the beds need to be made, and you need to make sure everything is cleared out from the previous guests.
Yeah.
So you're checking under beds, you're looking in closets, you're looking in drawers. You have to search the whole house.
Yeah.
And it's complicated. Scheduling is complicated. Servicing it can be complicated. And all of the products that we used from the customers that they had, that scheduled, that did or did not provide checklists, which most of them didn't.
Yeah.
We just thought there's got to be a simpler way to do this.
I think you find that a lot, that you need something, and it's like this company does that really good. Like Trello's great for task management, but then ClockSpot's better for time management. So it's like then you've got all these different pieces, and you're using 4 different programs to try and do all of these things.
And I've seen that the cleaning industry and the service industry in itself is a little outdated. There's some bigger companies in the space that just do service company operations like Service Titan or Jobber. You've heard of those big billion-dollar companies. But for a lot of the people that I've talked to, and I validated the product for a while, and not a lot of people were happy. And we wanted to make something that was simple and easy to use, not for managers, but for cleaners.
Okay.
Because managers, they're more tech savvy. They're used to doing onboarding trainings and learning software systems. They've been doing it their whole professional life. But service employees are not the most tech savvy people. They want something that's simple, easy to use, so they'll actually use it. 90% of the time, cleaners just won't even use what they're handed because they don't want to use that attention and energy to learn it.
Yeah, or they're afraid of it because it seems cumbersome or too difficult.
And so what we're really good at is when something is scheduled, it sends a text message link to their phone. They'll click on it, they can see their schedule, and then the day that it's that a cleaning needs to start, they'll just click start and it'll pull up an easy to see checklist. They'll be able to work through it. They'll be able to add pictures.
So important, the checklist, like, cause even it's funny, I was in an executive meeting yesterday and someone's like, well, I don't understand why we have this checklist. Like, I know what I'm doing. I said, you think that.
I was just about to say,
you think it, but have you read the Checklist Manifesto?
No, I haven't.
So it was written by a doctor, and he was like, all of these issues were happening in surgeries. And so he's like, what is the problem? And so he did all this research and basically found that by utilizing a checklist, these are doctors, so brilliant people, right?
Yeah.
But by using a checklist, it completely changed the trajectory of surgeries. Because even as a simple task of like washing your hands, those things weren't getting done, and it's like you consciously think like, I don't need to tell a doctor to wash his hands. He knows that. Well, it turns out they don't, so that's an incredible book, Checklist Manifesto. Go look it
Yeah,
up.
I'll have to
It's
use that
awesome.
as just a part of my sales process.
Yeah, it's a great book.
And it's a form of accountability.
Yeah.
You checked off all of these items, and that's what we get.
Right, because then if they're like, oh, I checked the drawers, it's
Yeah.
like, well, you didn't, obviously, because someone left a laptop in it.
Yeah, and there's different levels to making sure they're doing the right thing. So, some companies, and we can do this through our program, it's just take pictures of everything or the most commonly missed spots and just upload them to each job. And you're not going to your camera roll, you're not having to close different apps, you're not having to send emails about damage reports or anything. That's all easily done. Just at the bottom of the checklist, there's little boxes to say check pictures or add a damage report.
Yeah.
So the communication for the cleaner is very simple, and those reports just get sent out in real time, and the managers are notified via text or email as well, and they can see those things and work on those in real time, because these things need to be taken care of in real time. If there's a broken sink, it needs to be reported ASAP.
Yeah.
So the next guest doesn't come in. And one of the biggest things on damage reports and making sure the property is taken care of. I mean, these are $1 million investments for a lot of people, especially in Southern Utah. All of these vacation rental properties are around that, 600 to 1.5. That's their value.
Yeah.
And so they want assurance that their property is taken care of. And that's what
because a lot of those people are also
well.
using those properties for themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
And then guests will pay a deposit when they rent a home, right? Just as you will at a hotel, a security deposit or a damage deposit. And a lot of the time, if there's something that's broken and not reported, the owner will come have a stay 3 months down the road and say, hey, why are all these things broken, or why are these things misplaced? What's going on? And they have no idea who broke that or who moved that or who stole
what guest should have been charged for it.
Exactly. And so if you can schedule and report these things in real time, it saves not only the owners and managers the deposit money. Yeah. Because now if they miss it, it's coming out of their pocket. Right. They can't prove that it was anyone else. But it's all time stamped. You can look through the history of the reports and see dates and times as those things were reported in our software. Just really the most important features is what we're focused on in simplicity. That's through running the cleaning company. Yeah. That's what we have found. And I know that this will help people because it's simple, and a lot of the other products are just outdated. They're complicated. They're hard to learn. And, there are some newer companies out there that are good. I'm not, the service industry it's huge, and it's only growing. And I think the ability to start a service business, I think it's always been there, but I think people are starting to realize how the barrier to entry is a lot easier than they think because of social media, because of the internet back in, the 20th century or the 21st century. Like there's just people that had service businesses, but it wasn't broadcast to everybody that it's not that hard to start.
Yeah. Well, now with TikTok and with YouTube, it's like people are starting to be way more aware of this incredible opportunity that exists because it's jobs that need to be done that people don't want to do. You know, I mean, even like I pay today, I pay a person to pick up my dog poop. Yeah. It's like that's not a job someone wants to do, but that person has built a great business. Yeah. Off of finding people who are willing to do it.
Here's the thing: if they don't want to do it, they can hire somebody else to do it.
Well, of course, the person I'm paying is not picking the poop up anymore. He probably was in the beginning, right? But he's not paying her to pick it up anymore.
And that's the biggest thing is just starting. Like I didn't grow up thinking, oh, I just want to own a cleaning business. Yeah. It's not the sexiest business. But it's just something that there's a lot of potential in. Yeah. And we with the software too, there's all of these baby boomers that are going to be retiring in the next 5 to 10 years with these service businesses, and they're not tech focused. They're still scheduling on their daily planners. They're just sending out messages or emails or doing these things. And I really believe that over the next few years that these kind of products will really help businesses as they begin to be sold and taken over. Yeah. And the
there's probably a big segment of businesses you could purchase in those people's transition where they're moving out of it. Exactly. So what does Dormy cost?
Right now, the basic is just $150 a month. It's a flat fee.
Okay.
A lot of our competitors are charging either per user.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's kind of standard across the board.
Yeah.
But we do not only the operations, but the time sheets and just the payroll. And the good thing about having this developer is we really can build features pretty quickly and ship
custom code it for what people need.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that's right now we're early, so we will do custom stuff for people. I think that's kind of frowned upon later down the road when you're a bigger, more established company. You want to focus on what you're good at.
Sure.
And that point you can integrate with, more property management systems that kind of make scheduling a lot easier. For example, like there's integrations with a software like WebRes Pro where we would just integrate with you guys. Yeah. And then if something is booked, it automatically appears as cleaning on our calendar.
That's awesome.
And so our cleaners get that really notification and see that right away. And that's not anything that's new, but that's what we're building right now is just that ability to integrate with the different PMSs. Property management softwares.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so if someone is listening to this and they need a housekeeping team for their property, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you guys?
You can go to our website. We have it's called stgcleaning.com, or you could find us on Facebook, ZionCleaningCo.com. On Facebook. And then I feel like that's probably the best way to reach out to us. Okay, well, I'll put that link in the show notes. And what about the app? Yeah. What if they want Dormy? Yeah, Dormy.io is our website. It's got we have a newsletter, so you can just apply and put your email in there, and we can get a hold of you that way. We're on Facebook as well, so just look us up there. Okay, and Dormy is DOREMI? It's actually DORMI. M-I, okay. Yeah. Or just email me, will@dormy.io. So, okay. And I'll put, if you guys are listening to this, I'll put all of these, all this contact info in the show notes and the links. So that way you guys can get connected with Will and get some housekeeping or maybe use an app. Yeah, we do. I mean, again, we do vacation rental, house cleaning, commercial. Even commercial. I'm sure people listen to this. Commercial properties. Yeah, commercial is probably our favorite, just because of the system ability. Yeah, just how systematic it is. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. All right, well, thank you so much for being here. I am excited to check out Dormy myself, and it was great to have a guest in studio. Yeah, thanks, sir.